Yeah, so I started my journey of packaging long back. I think I'm almost completing 2 decades now, from the days of my IIP, and that's like almost half of my life actually. To guess, like that's a lot of time. I think half of my life I've spent talking, listening, and of course reading about packaging. It's a journey. I think I'm still enjoying, and that's a good sign. And I think I hope that I continue doing that for many years to come. So I started with IIP Mumbai, and then went on to get training at Unilever, and then I was selected to work at Unilever Bangalore, and then did some fantastic work with some of the stalwarts in the industry, and that's like something I still feel proud about, because that's the starting point is pretty critical. Where you start, how you start, and I think the learnings remain with you for lifetime. Whatever you do at IIP and your couple of the jobs which you do initially, I think those are very early times, and that set the tone for your career as well. Actually, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? However, I think the best part was yet to come. I think one of the best part of my packaging journey was GSK, which came in after Unilever actually, and that's one of the longest of my career as also. Like GlaxoSmithKline, I think one of the best teams I have worked with, one of the best colleagues, the innovations, awards, the discussions I used to have with my colleagues, they were some of the best ones actually. So it's not that the first job only matters. It could be any of the second. For me, it is still the second job I had. It was GSK. Then followed by I came to General Mills, again a food company, and then I started working with Colgate Palmolive. So in all, like, yeah, I have had around good experience around different products lines, different organizations, and of course different team members as well actually. So it's a mix of things, and I would say it has its own merits and demerits in kind of working with different organizations. But I think everything teaches you something which is kind of valuable. So I try to take that and I think move ahead in my life. Yeah, thank you. That's something about me.
Yeah, and so Sukhdev sir, I would like to add, like, so you have been like spend more or less a decade in GSK. So was it into packaging or it was into like procurement and across functions and across geographies, whether in India itself, like different states and all. So how it has been like with respect to diversity in your profile since then, like students would love to know. Yeah.
So basically, I was more into packaging, R&D and supply chain. Uh, and then I did a stint with the value engineering team. Special team was formed. For a couple of years, I worked on a projects which were like led by a different team, but I was still managing packaging only on that. But so basically R&D of packaging and then supply chain.
Nicer, nicer. I think it has been like a sort of like a good introduction, and we are about to start the webinar. So please start sharing your screen so that we can take it forward. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Like, yes, I think I have slightly renamed the conversation. Basically, today it was more about the roles and responsibilities of a packaging development person. But I think I thought that okay, maybe there are many people who don't want to go into say packaging development only. They might be interested in something else. And also, I think it is a very dynamic subject that if we kind of speak about packaging career and also about conversation, how to be a good person in terms of how do we achieve more in packaging. So that's what I think I took the liberty and I just converted into a packaging career conversation. And I think it's an important part for all of you. I think I just I got a clarification that all of the students who are listening to me, I think they all are right now in their internship period. Mostly, I would assume. And right now, I think it's a very interesting time because because there is a lot of things happening around in the world and in our own country as well. And I think from a perspective of training and internship, we are at a time where it's all virtual right now, and we are doing everything online. The conversations, the training, the work which is happening is online, and hence I think it makes a lot of sense kind of to just have a small discussion on what's happening in the career and on how do people are coping with it. And I think that's what I think I will discuss. And of course, towards the end of my discussion or my presentation, I would expect if there are any questions, anything you'd like to share, your feedback or your experiences, I would be happy to kind of have them. So as I was mentioning, I think the world is right now in a very different stage, and we all are facing challenges with COVID-19. And this is where we would land, I would say. So like the words like empathy, listening, understanding, these are the words which will help us sail through. And I think right now we have to be, I think acceptance and safe is something which everybody wants, that okay, whatever they are doing right now, we just have to be kind of open to everything. And I think I'm feeling very glad that I'm talking to the future of the world right now, because right now the session, whoever is listening to me, I think you guys are the future of the world in terms of your age, skill set, and whatever you can do in your life. So I think I feel very glad. I think I would be very honored if sometime in my later years of career, I meet some of you, and then if somebody come up to me and says, okay, you were one of the persons who was listening to this particular discussion. I think I would be very happy to do that actually. And so I would definitely remember this. I'm talking to you guys, and whoever is listening to me, if somebody comes up after a few years and then come back to me saying, okay, it was something useful or even not useful, actually, a conversation would help kind of move forward. So I consider myself lucky right now. Yeah, good. So as I mentioned, I think it's going to be a new chapter for all of you. And it's something which you should be taking it in a way like, okay, don't be too stressed upon. It's something which will come. Eventually, it will be there, and we all have that experience. I had that experience, and as I mentioned that, okay, we were very anxious. What would happen? I think the anxiousness starts right when the competition starts. Maybe any of the board examinations, the college examinations, and then right up to say Indian Institute of Packaging, right, semester after semester. For few students, it's very easy. I think they sail through. They find it very easy to just go through the exams. It's very easy for them. And there are few like who find some of the subjects very difficult. I can personally say that, okay, I had few challenges with some of my subjects actually. So I can think about maths. I don't know, maybe it was pretty kind of a couple of things were pretty tough for me. And I think I used to consider that when this particular semester is going to get over for me. And then I think eventually the D-Day comes in for interviews, for, of course, internship, and then later on for the campus interviews. Of course, there were a lot of people who couldn't get through, but then I think they eventually landed up in the job as well. And whoever I know right now in packaging, including my batchmates, they are all doing something actually in around their life. So not everybody is in packaging. They have worked in packaging. They have moved around. They have done very well in life. And I think they all are happy. So that's what I can say. It's a new chapter. Look up to it and prepare well for it. So before we start, I think I would also like to say, do we know who are you actually? That who are we? What am I doing? And I think when I say who are you, so I think do you know what kind of person are you? That's very important. And what kind of role do you play? And I often take examples of different, say, entertainment industry, movies, and this is one of my favorite series of late. I think I don't know if everybody has seen it, but I'm sure many of you have seen the series, and I am a big fan right now. I think I saw it and I completed all the 4 seasons in one go, I think, and I was pretty late for it. I couldn't finish it earlier, but I think the good part here was I think everybody knows what to do actually in their life and in this part. So the better you know who are you, what's your role in your particular context, and what are you doing in your life, and also in your organization, or what do you want to do. I think that will solve a lot of your mysteries, because if you don't know who are you yet, then I think it's something which you should kind of start talking about, or at least start thinking about right now. So again, continuing on this, do you fit into any of these? Because packaging, if we talk about, so a packaging person can be an engineer, can be a scientist. The person can be very good with graphics, designer. I saw that there was a pretty good session on procurement in terms of commercial costing. One of my batchmates, he took it, and I heard very good feedback about his session. And I think, yes, the commercial sourcing plays a very important role. Quality, again, one of the big topic subject in the industry. Everybody wants to have a very quality product in the market, and quality team members play a very important role. I think the biggest champion, sales and marketing. And do you want to be kind of in sales or marketing? And if you feel that okay, you fit into any of these right now, it's pretty good actually. Then I think you will definitely enjoy my session as well. Otherwise, also I think it's fine. I think there is always a time where I think you feel that okay, apna time still aayega. I think whoever will see or think that abhi tak I have not arrived actually. Okay, this is something. This list doesn't define me. It's fine, I think, because there is still a time which is there which will define you. You're yet to realize what you want and what you want to do, what you want to kind of achieve. That's fine, I think. So I think this is something which will eventually will come through in your life, and the sooner it comes, I think it is good. Otherwise, I think you will take your time, and I think it's good to realize what do you want to do. Again, once you get to know what you want to do and where do you want to go, and eventually I've just skipped the kind of interview process somewhere. I think I know that you will be kind of also going through a session on interview and what the campus, how companies would come by. I'm just jumping onto the subject, and again, I think borrowing one of the pictures from one of my favorite movies, Rocket Singh. So you have to be ready for the work, and I think you have to start preparing it right now. Actually, the D-Day would come. You will be prepared for the interview, of course, with or without tie. I think so. So ties are not compulsory nowadays. It's generally it is gone by only the sales team. Some of the sales and marketing guys, they wear ties. But I think the context here is that okay, you need to be ready for your work, and also once you are ready for the work, you know where you are going to heading towards. How prepared are you? So you got the job, you are ready for day one, and you know you are excited. But I think just as a kind of a general tip, actually, just go through the office etiquette. And I'm not going to share, or I'm not going to go through the general office etiquette list right now. And hence, I think I have just placed a Google symbol, because I think right now, if you don't have any answers, you can very well go to Google and then search for it. And I would say the environment is pretty I would say different from what we usually face in the classroom or in say in your respective work home environment, because there you face challenges, and also it's a common shared space. So there where the working area is shared, and the resources are also shared. So it would be better if you can just go through the general office etiquettes to understand how do things work at your office space. And it could be anywhere actually. So it could be office, factory, for sales and marketing folks, it would be your clients' offices. But generally, you need to be prepared. Okay, where do you want to go?
Can you hide the pop-up screen?
Is it better now?
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So first things first, I think one of the mantra which I follow and which I changed in between my career was, I think initially I was just a sponge, where people used to say, okay, just soak in everything which comes your way. Just be like a sponge. Just keep on absorbing each and everything. And later on, I realized that okay, it's too much for me to kind of take everything. सारे formulae, सारा पूरे calculations, सारे chemicals के नाम and polymers and everything, whatever you feel is something like, I think it was difficult for me to kind of keep a track of everything. And then I think, and also I'm not mentioning a kind of entire list, but then somehow, somewhere I realized that, okay, kind of, you have to be a filter actually. And a filtering means that, okay, whatever is relevant for me and which will help me reach my goal or complete my work, that's required actually. And then from there on, I think I felt pretty easy. And that's what I do. Whatever is required for me, I keep it. and I keep it handy, or I just park it for my future. And then whatever is not required, the information, I just pass it on, or I just kind of leave it. And that sense, I think it makes me easier to kind of keep going on my work. So that's what I would say that, okay, for you guys also, you can start by either being a sponge, collect everything what you want and then work around it. But once you realize, okay, you have taken up enough, then I think you start filtering out, and then you can make space for more things to come by. So you've started your work, and you're pretty excited. Your day one is pretty good. You've seen around what's happening, and what do you want to do actually next after that? So this is one thing which I also follow mostly, and I ask a lot of my team members also. And this is something which I have also learned over the past few years, that creating a small plan of 30, 60, 90 days will help you immensely. So in terms of, say, if we take an example of 30-day, what to do in the first 30 days. So just be on time. I think be there, be on time. And it's not that, okay, reaching the office on time actually. If you are part of the meeting, if you're part of some discussion, arrive at the meeting hall or the meeting room also on time. That's also critical. So showing up on time, and wherever if somebody there's a kind of a call or a discussion happening, you have to show up. And also I think be there. I think physically presence and actually being present is something which is kind of also coming up, because I myself I get distracted pretty easily sometimes. So keeping yourself engaged in that meeting, in that discussion, and talking to people and getting clarity, that's what I think people are looking for. So for you also, if you feel that, okay, there is something which is missing, if you don't know what to do, you have to get up and then talk to people and ask many questions as you can. And also one more thing is, I think, settle down. So many of you would be also shifting your places, cities, towns. You would be settling down in your new houses. There might be some of the kind of travel being done. You might be kind of also thinking about how it is kind of going on with your new salary, with your new things. So settle down in your work and life both. That is what is required in the first month. And remember that, okay, you have to smile also, because I think stress and the new person very often feels that, okay, I am not required to kind of talk on a lot of things. But then I think it's okay, you can just smile actually, because that cools the person, okay, and also it brings the nerves down, okay, that you are ready for the next activity and you are right there actually. In terms of 60 days, I would say learn the culture. How do the people interact? What's the major things which people talk about? And also, if you understand the culture of half of a job is done, because you know what's the ways of working, and in terms of process also, in terms of what people expect from you. uh, Say example, how does the packaging development happens, and then various documentation work. You start talking to each other and your team members about different processes, and start learning more on that. Team, in terms of your team members, you have to know them better. And I think if you want to be a successful person in the industry, I think you need to be a team player. That's what I think I have learned, that if for your at least your initial career, you need to be a team player, because then I think your contributions, your value would be definitely kind of seen. You would be kind of seen as a person who contributes to each and every subject and projects. That's what I think matters to people. Uh, Stakeholders, I think there will be many stakeholders. You might be tired of stakeholders. This is the one word which you'll hear very often. And these are people who kind of you will interact on day-to-day basis, or your leaders or managers whom you should kind of keep updated. And you should be kind of knowing who are the right people you should be talking to, and keeping updated on different projects. So this is about 60 days. On 90 days, I would say you should be able to identify what your superpower is. What do you want to kind of do with that superpower? And it could be anything to do with, say, you are very good with, say, laminates. You're very good with, say, corrugated, with shelf life, with anything to do with adhesives. with anything to do with, say, emerging things, digital things. So you need to kind of be aware that this is my superpower and I'm going to use this in any of my project, or at least share that with the team that, okay, this is something you feel very much, very passionate about, and this is what I want to do in one of my projects, or can we get an opportunity to kind of showcase this particular skill? So you need to talk about it, you need to incorporate that, and I think that is going to help you. Feedback, you can actively start talking about yourself and also asking others that, okay, how are you doing? And in that process, if you also want to give feedback to somebody else that, okay, this is something I feel can be a bit nicer, or this is something I feel could be better, that people would appreciate. So after, I think, around 2.5, 3 months, you can start talking about feedback and giving them the kind of required talk. Initiative, of course, as I mentioned, skill is one part, but of course, if there is any small initiative you want to take, it could be anything work related or personal capacity, anything to do with, say, extracurricular activity, any initiative you want to take, showcase that. So start talking about it and then mention that, okay, you want to start this, you want to work on this particular project. And I think people will be very happy that, okay, you are coming up with this initiative. And then, of course, I think you need to plan yourself that, okay, in the next probably 6 months, 3 months, what do you want to do? And you need not kind of wait. You need not wait for the next 6 months. You can start working on it. And all throughout, just remember that, okay, you have to smile. You have to keep the energy high, because that's what people expect from you. Of course, things may not go as per plans. You may have planned something on day one at the end of 30 days or 60 days. So the best thing is you can pivot. You can change the strategy. But remember, you don't change the vision entirely. Your goal should not change. You have started to do something in a kind of zone where you have given yourself, say, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or you have thought about it for a longer time maybe. So if you're thinking your strategy or whatever you are thinking, if it's not working, I think there's always a plan B also in place. And when I say plan B, I don't know how many of you are able to realize. I think I could see that, okay, this pivot, I think it's again taken from the work of what's happening in Money Heist, that, okay, there is always a plan B ready, plan C ready, actually. So that people are ready with their thinking that, okay, if one thing doesn't work, how should we go around for plan B and plan C? So that's something which you have to also keep handy sometimes, that, okay, it's okay to kind of pivot in life. Now coming to the more serious part of things, and I should admit, actually, I love packaging because I can express myself. And that's how I see things, that, okay, everything is not all about serious stuff, not about technical stuff. It can be fun as well. And I blend both the things together, the serious stuff, the scientific stuff, with some of the things which I like. It could be any topic, it could be anything, but then it should be fun to talk about and it should be fun to follow also. So all of you guys, whoever is there, actually, if you're very serious about your art or work, you can loosen up, you can kind of mix and blend things. And of course, I think you have to make something which is easy for everybody to digest and for yourself also. So it's okay to not talk about in a very serious things. It's good to blend things and also present in a way that, okay, it's a mix of both a science and art thing. That's what I think people have been learning about packaging. But I think actually when you start applying those things, this is how I think it should look like. This is my philosophy. I follow that. And I think that's what I would say. It's really fun blending both of them. In terms of knowledge management, I would say there are many things which are required, but I think I could just pick up some 6, 7 of them which I felt that are top of the chart. Of course, safety and health is something which many organizations keep at the top. So once you reach your organization or wherever you are working, you should understand the safety and health aspect of things. How do organizations treat safety, and what are the different health parameters they would like to follow? And it could be slightly different for an office environment and for a factory environment. However, I think do keep a watch. You should be going through each and everything and follow that also. Because in a lot of organizations, if you kind of breach the safety protocol, you might be having severe repercussions as well, actually. So I think I would say safety health should be at top of the learning chart. Wherever you are, you should do that. Then comes the documentation part. Learning about different documentation, what are the different reports or different say specification trials, whatever it is we do in our packaging job, what kind of documentation are prepared, and how are they prepared, where are they kept, and the process flowchart should be very easy to understand. And I think you should be talking, or you should be trying to learn more on that. Then comes the communication part. In terms of communication, I think you can talk about, say, emails. So what are the preferred email versions? How do people work really in emails? Is it very casual? It is kind of a formal, and what kind of formality like people follow? And I think salutations, and of course the content part also. How much of the data is required to explain to people? That's something which you should try to learn from your early jobs. Of course, your other communication also, when you are talking to your team members in a meeting. So how do you brainstorm? How do you talk to people? And also, how do you respond to different situations will be also very challenging. So try to keep a tab on that. Make a note of things that, okay, how people are responding, and also how people respect each other and treat them. It would be very helpful to kind of observe them and incorporate those things in your communication style as well. Design thinking, it's one of the very, I would say, evolving subject right now. Everybody's talking about it. Of course, it's one of the problem solving technique. And I think we as a packaging community, if people want to kind of succeed in the life, I think we should understand what design thinking is and how to kind of work around it. It is definitely helpful in terms of new products, or if you want some improvement in the product, or at least if you're trying to solve any problem, this approach definitely helps us. The next thing which I wanted to talk about is graphics and artworks. Again, entire different ball game altogether. I think it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I can also admit that, okay, I am not a pro at graphics and design. It's definitely creativity unlimited which is required, and people out there who are very creative, extremely talented in graphics, in artworks. I think you guys have a lot of respect out there. I think, and a lot of guys are wanted because they can understand what creativity is, how colors work, how inks work, and also I think your graphics, how does it work around. So I think you have to be, if you are interested in that aspect, try getting involved into the graphics and design artworks part, and then I think you can definitely contribute to the organization very well. In terms of again, audit, so visits to the different suppliers, to factories, to contract manufacturers, this will be part of your life. And if you know how to audit them in terms of say technical, quality, commercial audit, and there could be any of these three audits actually. So you need to understand what are the key elements to check when you are visiting a factory, when you want to visit a supplier. What are you going to talk about? What kind of questions are you going to ask? And what are exactly your observations going to be? What do you want to check? And that checklist, that survey, that questionnaire, if you are prepared very well, you will be kind of successful, because then people would definitely respect you that you are well prepared for that visit. I would say that, okay, this particular topic would be very helpful, because right upfront in your career, you will be asked to kind of visit a lot of factories, and the more prepared you are, I think the better it is for you. Costing and commercial, I spoke about it earlier. And of course, I think there are people who are very pro at that. They understand each and every aspect of costing, accountancy, but there are some who doesn't understand it. It's okay, I think so. So you can just talk about the basic stuff. You have to understand the basic factors which affect the costing, and what do the conversion cost stand for. So there are two aspects. One is the material cost, another is the conversion cost. So you start deriving your topics. What do you want to learn and what do you want to implement? But then at the end of the day, you as a person in packaging, you should be able to identify what are the different areas which will contribute towards costing. So if you understand that and if you're able to talk about it, it's very good. In terms of quality, there, as I mentioned, I think quality is kind of the pillar or the gatekeeper for everything. And if you want to be a successful person, I think you should again have a good eye on the product packaging process quality. And when I say quality, it could be different parameters, different factors. Say any defect qualification, anything to do with say acceptance levels. So if you understand those sheets, I think it will be very good. And there are a lot of courses out there in terms of quality, total quality management, Six Sigma, Lean Sigma, and a lot of other things. If you want to be kind of a successful person in packaging, I think try to understand about quality systems as well. In terms of specifications, I think this is top of the chart for any toolbox. And I think both reading and writing the specification is very important for us as a career in packaging, followed by keyline drawings. And the not to be very fancy keyline drawings. You can just try to learn how to make very simple design and drawing. So initially in my career, I used to draw by my hand, sketch it, and then draw the sachet, carton, or shipper drawings. And then I think we used to upload it or share it with different suppliers with my team members. And then eventually we started making it into Excel. And then after Excel, now there are several different programs which run, which we can work on. However, I think the basic need is that, okay, you should understand how the drawings look like, and also keyline drawing of different packaging components are made. And also you need to kind of be able to read them. Test methods. Again, I think one of the things which started filtering out, actually, one of the things I can recollect is initially I used to recollect the numbers and the different aspects of things. I think it's good to know initial part of your career in the early 4 or 5 years to remember each and every test method. Okay, what does it contain and the numbers and everything. But later on, I think you should know the crux of things and what is important as a property, how it is tested, and which lab or which particular standard would be able to kind of help your problem. That is something which is required. Palletization again is very much important with respect to say our logistics. Of course, in India we face challenges in palletization. Not everybody uses the palletized method, but internationally or for exports, palletization is one of the big work area. And I think the more you learn about palletization, if you try to understand how things work in the software, it would be helpful for your work area. Research, I think research, what I meant to discuss is that in terms of your understanding about different subjects out there, when you want to kind of research a new area, so you must be working on plastics, paper, metal, wood, anything. But if you are asked to kind of research into a new subject, new topic, and if it's an emerging technology or any new, say, a coating or additive, how good you are actually? Are you able to kind of go out and understand, look for that particular topic? It can be anything on sustainability, which is very highly emerging area. So whether you are able to go to the internet or talk to people and get the right data in. And that's where I think people also, the new, all the new joinees, all the new team members, they are being tasked with a lot of research work. That, okay, can you help me with this kind of data on suppliers or on packaging material, additive, anything? And this is one of the key areas where your contributions will be measured. Report writing, of course, once you complete your visit, once you complete the trials, once you are able to understand what's happening in the factory, I think people would be expecting you to write reports. And if you are able to kind of have a good command on the language as well as the content, I think it will be very good. So it need not be very fancy thing. It can be very concise, but yet capturing the basic essence of what you have seen, what you have learned. And of course, with respect to data capturing, it should be very, very effective. I would say that combined with whatever you have seen in the line or factories, and that thing should be there. And I think the major thing which people also require towards the end of the report or whatever you are proposing is what's your inference and what are you proposing. So always have a point of view when you are reporting or when you are talking to people, because that's what people ask for. And it's very important that you, as a person who has seen it firsthand, what are you reporting? What do you want to say? Market data, of course, in terms of say how aware are you in terms of competition or people out there in the market, who is doing what technology is being used mostly, and also in terms of suppliers, who are the major suppliers in the country, and where are they located. Of course, if you know that, okay, what kind of equipment do they have, what capabilities are they able to manage, I think it would be very good. And it can be only few top suppliers in each of the industry, but you start gathering them, it would be very helpful for you. Now coming on to what are the emerging trends in this packaging field, and it could be anything to do with not only packaging. I've just captured things which are like kind of right now people are seeing that, and I think of course with this last couple of months of Corona thing, which where everybody is working from home or staying or lockdown condition, e-commerce has been, I think, exploited like anything. We know that people were definitely ordering, they were definitely going to e-commerce platform earlier, but it has increased like anything. The percentages are still being calculated, but everybody's working on it right now. And I think the number of apps being downloaded, the number of deliveries being discussed, that's pretty high. So in coming times, I think, of course, e-commerce is one of the online ordering is one of the big things, and your role as packaging person would be critical in this area as well. Digital transformation, I think we all are learning in that, and there are companies which have already made that jump, which have already, they are gone into, say, they work entirely on digital platforms, and they are doing big things. And I think the Amazon, the Google of things, the Facebook, everybody is like kind of, they are digital companies. And then there are smaller organizations who are doing a lot of things in digital transformation. Of course, this also means, I have just captured this because in terms of people, we as people, we are now kind of also adapting to a lot of small things, which is day-to-day our requirements on digital platforms. Like right now, it could have been a physical conversation at IIP or at some other location, but right now we're just talking to people through webinar. And also in terms of say games or video chat, Zoom, training, education, you name it, everybody has adapted to digital ways of working. So whoever wants to work, I think, extensively in their career on anything beyond packaging, you need to be kind of savvy with all the digital things which are happening around you. Maybe the organizations will expect you to work in the day-to-day life, but even if your organization doesn't want you, your personal life will kind of push you to kind of learn new things. And that's what I am seeing right now. Safe packaging, one of the big things which has emerged. How safe is my packaging, and are the things which are covered, are they really protected, and is the food which I'm eating or my family is going to eat, is it really safe? And there have been questions on even the safety of the packaging. Actually, should we touch the packaging? How many hours of quarantine should the packaging be kept in the factories? And those are the areas which have been discussed on day-to-day basis nowadays. So safe packaging is definitely going to be one of the big things in the next couple of years. And I think we all have to kind of understand what does safe means, and it will change to company, but however the consumer will define what is safe for them. Frugal innovation. When I say frugal, it's like kind of a very cost thing, value thing, or a small tiny bits and pieces here and there. I think people are going to look for value everywhere, and we need to understand that a big level of innovation might come in from packaging, but I think which impacts the life in a smaller way is very much appreciated by day-to-day consumers. So if there are small tweaks or smaller improvements also, which you feel that, okay, can contribute towards the betterment of consumer, I think you should go for it. And that's what I think companies would be looking for also. Instead of just waiting for that one big aha moment, they would definitely want to go for smaller incremental changes as well. Sustainability, I spoke about that. It's a critical factor. Everybody is talking about sustainability. You need to understand, you need to learn more on that. Efficiency, automation in terms of outputs. People want to kind of have higher outputs with the lower cost, and automation is going to play a big role in that. So whoever out there is interested in engineering, mechanics, robotics, this is something which people are talking about already. I think how can we have better output with lower cost, and that's where I think you guys will be demanded in terms of automation. Value engineering, it's basically nothing but then I think how can we kind of bring in the best of the things at the lower cost, and people would definitely challenge a lot of people to kind of get the best packaging. However, the consumers will see that okay, what kind of cost he or she needs to pay to the company, and I think there comes the real value of a packaging person, that if they design the packaging in a way that okay, this is like optimum, I think everybody will appreciate that. I think one of the last slides in terms of what should we learn, I think, and I think I have just taken few of the cues, what's out there, what's really interesting right now, and people are really looking for project management. People work on projects all the time, and if you know what project management is, how project management happens, I think it would be good for you. So use your time to kind of learn more on project management, on say any certification or course you want to do on project management. It would be helpful. Recycling, definitely one of the big pillars. Everywhere you go, people talk on sustainability, but then I think what do you want to do in recycling? How are the materials being discussed? Post recycle content and recyclable materials. So you need to get to kind of a layer down and understand how things work really in recycling world. That's very much required in the next future. In terms of innovation pipeline, how do projects work in terms of say ideas? So you may have say maybe 10 ideas, and then I think everybody will not take 10 ideas. They would like to filter that and move forward. So how do really ideas get filtered? How do brainstorming work? And because I think there was a time when I didn't know how brainstorming works, but then I think right now I think brainstorming is everything. So wherever you go, whichever session you will be, you'll be asked to get ideas or brainstorm. So it will be really helpful to understand that. Root cause analysis, of course, I spoke about it in the problem solving also earlier, but root cause analysis is something where people want to understand if things go wrong, if results are not up to expectation. They would really want to understand how things are and why are they not working in their favor. So if you are a pro at root cause analysis, if you understand how things work, it would be very good actually. Then one of the major pillars, which I think neglected for many years, is personal financial planning. You may not have too much of a salary right now. You may not be having stipend, or you might not be very much you may not have a lot of funding from your guardians or family wherever you are. But then there would be a time where you will start earning. I think that's the time when you have to be ready with your thinking. What are you going to do with your money, and how to save taxes, where to invest, and what do you want to do with that? You need to understand, study it right now, actually, not when you start actually getting money, because that time you might be like kind of just going with the flow and you may not know what to do with your money. So if you know what your financial goals are and how do you want to plan things out, it would be very good, because that's how I think things work, and it would be very well beneficial in your case. Again, one of my favorite authors, which I often read with my daughter. She's 7, and it's a very generalistic quote, but I like it very much. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you will go. So I think this is one lifelong thing which I have been following from last, I don't know how many years, maybe more than 30 years, 34 years, maybe. That I have, whenever I started reading, actually, that I like to read a lot of things. And if you read something, and it could be any topic, any subject, it would help you definitely. I think I definitely get benefited by reading a lot, and I think I would request that okay, whoever you want to read, any author, any subject, I think please go ahead and start reading. And this is something which I am also kind of propagating, because I stand by that. One important thing, which again I think I should not be writing this, but I think again it is written in the favor of kind of people out there, and the things have changed definitely with social media coming in. But social media is just one part of it. Just knowing people on LinkedIn or Facebook is not enough actually. But then actual networking is key. That you need to understand how people out there are. Do they want to help you out? And what kind of bonding you kind of want to create with those people. And you need not have hundreds of people around you. You just select some people around you, or the people you want to kind of have as your network, It could be anybody within the packaging fraternity, suppliers, partners, or anybody outside of the industry as well. Actually, you need to have that network going throughout a career. And I have seen that, okay, many times when I don't have answers, I have to reach out to people who have the answers ready actually, and it has saved my life many times. Quickly wrapping up things, I think one of the big things which I've seen is Ikigai, which is the right now the topic or the subject which I'm researching about in the last 6 months. And Ikigai is a Japanese concept, and it means that, okay, the reason for you to live and for being, and it's connected to your purpose of life and what do you want to do. I know it's a very weird thing right now, I think, at your stage of career. And believe me, even at my stage of career, I don't know what my Ikigai is actually. Why do I want to get up every morning, and what do I do actually? But the real thing is, I love packaging right now, and I think it's one of the best things I do in my career, and hence I'm going forward with that. Definitely, I think there could be changes in my Ikigai in the later stage, and I would like to do that as well. So this is something which people would follow their passion, mission, profession, vocation, and I think it would be good that you would also kind of like to work in the future on this kind of purpose. I would just like you guys to kind of just think about. Maybe spend 10 seconds on the people who have influenced your life in a very big way, or you want to kind of work or see them as your gurus or as your idol in your life actually. And it could be anybody within packaging, within a family, outside of circle. Just think about them for the next 5 to 10 seconds, because those are the people you should be often talking to or reaching out to. And in the future, I think you should be having a good bond with them. And I think having some kind of relation with those people who you highly respect in your life, I think helps you again solve a lot of mysteries, get answers to a lot of your questions in your career or within your work areas, your life. That's what I think I have been also doing. So I would request that if you have not identified at least one person, start thinking about it right now. You should have 1 or 2 people in your life who can help you around. And last but not the least, I think you should be getting ready to write your own story. And I'd be very happy to read your story or listen to your story in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sukhdev sir. I think like the way this webinar has been conducted, you have touched upon all the points. Like although it seems very simple when we talk about Ikigai, RCA, root cause analysis, Fishbone diagram, project management, but if we go into depth, like you have conveyed each and everything that what is required from a typical packaging professional. So moving quickly to the Q&A round. Prashant from IIP Hyderabad, 34th batch student, will lead the Q&A, and he has compiled all the questions which he would like to you. Prashant, are you there? Can you take the lead?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go on, Prashant.
Yeah. Yes. Good evening, sir. This is a very valuable session. We have learned much from the session which is currently we have gone through, and the situations we are facing. I have some questions to ask you regarding the seminar, sir. Shall I continue, sir?
Yes, please continue.
Yes, sir. Amidst the current situation with not much clarity with projects and developments, what exactly is the industry expecting from the students after their internship?
Right. So, as I mentioned, I think projects, I think if there are not projects going on, I would request that students can think about something which is interesting for them. I mentioned about the superpower. So people can think about the areas where they want to grow or where they want to learn new things or something they are very confident about. So start researching more on that topic and think about a subject which will kind of be of importance in the future. I mentioned some of the topics in my session as well. Also, I would request that you guys go back to your managers, your team members at the respective organizations and start discussing that, okay, what can you do with your right now with your limited resources, and can there be a project which you can share? And I think asking something will definitely solve your problem.
Okay, sir. The next question will be, what will be the packaging trends or scenarios post COVID-19?
Yeah, I think I shared some of them in my presentation, that definitely safe packaging is one of the big things which people will be talking about. Of course, after that, I think there would be a webinar, and in terms of say, I meant to say the digital ways of working is something like, I meant to say webinar is something which is going on, and people would expect more as the kind of online training and e-commerce. So I think consumer behaviors will definitely be e-commerce and online ordering. So I think as a packaging person, what are the requirements from e-commerce perspective? If you learn them, I think it would be very, very handy.
Yes, sir. The next question will be, how can packaging professionals pursue a career in graphics or artwork management? What all skills do we require for the field apart from creativity?
Okay, sure. So creativity, of course, is not a thing which has to be kind of learned in a way. Actually, it is kind of to be practiced, and I think a person is creative by a lot of years of experience and years of practice. And of course, if you want to just learn the graphics part and the artwork part, I think there are courses in terms of say digital designing, and in terms of say I mentioned about the basic keyline drawings. That doesn't need a lot of understanding, but if you want to say understand depth of graphics, I would say you should start with say Corel Draw, ArtioSCAD. Those are the things which people use on a day-to-day basis, and then you can then go on to kind of evolve more on the 3D 2D file work as well, that is required. And then I think talking about colors and inks, that is something which people definitely expect that, okay, do you understand the right colors and inks? Then I think another big aspect of things which right now is not under packaging but is a part of marketing and sales is the brand architecture. So do you really understand how brands architecture they define different graphics on the packaging? If you are really able to understand those elements as well, and there are different say courses online as well on communication, on brand communication, on different brand architectures, it would be helpful to understand those. Those are like really a master level of understandings, but it would be good that if you understand those subjects as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question will be, how Six Sigma certifications and supply chain management skills will help the freshers in packaging industry? Will it help individual to have an edge over the others?
Sure. So I cannot comment about one particular say certification, but definitely I think what I've seen is people with say a lot of certification in quality, their understanding of subjects is pretty high. Their problem solving or their observation power is at a different level, actually, I would say so, because once they start talking about and preparing for their courses, and therefore there are some examinations also for Six Sigma, Lean Sigma. I think what happens is that I think the application part becomes pretty easy. So when you are doing your project, when you are at the factory or you are visiting say any supplier, your understanding becomes pretty good, actually, because you are able to observe things which you want to do. And also if there is a problem or a defect that you are analyzing, you know actually how to approach the problem. So imagine a scenario, if your manager or if your team comes with a problem and you are one of the person who has to resolve that, you know, okay, how to look at the problem or what questions do you need to ask. So I would say yes, if you are aware of those things, it will be very helpful.
Yes, sir. So the next question will be, can trend Swadeshi packaging in India after COVID-19?
Say again, please. I missed one of the word. I think what do you say? Trends?
Trend Swadeshi packaging in India after COVID-19.
Swadeshi packaging. So I'm not sure if I am getting you correctly, but then I think it could be anything. I think, yeah, right now, I think with respect to our COVID situation, people are looking for local suppliers, but that is something for short term because that's not a very long term strategy to sustain. And in today's scenario, we need people from across the world to help each other. That's what is required.
Okay, sir. The next question will be, how freshers can deal with the team members who never take risk in implementing some innovative thoughts.
Okay, very nice question. I think the best thing would be when you know that okay, this is something very innovative. Build a plan around it. I think so. Or steps around it. How do you want to really talk about the project or the idea, and also how that idea will be able to benefit to the organization or to the function. When people understand the benefit part of it, I think then it will be easier for them to kind of take that idea. Uh, because many times the idea is there, you talk about the idea, but it's very superficial. So when you spend some time on the idea and maybe prepare a chart which helps explain the benefits of the idea and also how do you want to take about it actually. So if there are like 4 steps or 6 steps to take that idea from say a paper to a execution stage, the team would be very happy that okay, you have spent some time on this idea and thoughts, and I think that will really help you kind of influence the people. And by the way, influencing skills is something which people have to learn, and there would be times where people do not get influenced very easily, yet you have to kind of stick to your particular game, make them explain, and then of course there could be time that okay, you have to kind of wait for some next time. So time is also required sometimes that say maybe today is not the right time, maybe you have to wait for the right opportunity.
Okay, sir. Uh, a large majority look at the packaging as a bane because they aren't aware of its functions. By the time it reaches them, as they only tear away and use the product. How can we change it into a boon?
Okay, so yeah, I think that is something as a common consumer behavior. So you will have people who understand how packaging functions and what benefit it is providing to the overall supply chain and to the product they're eating actually. And then there are people who doesn't give a damn and they just kind of eat the product as you mentioned or use the product and just throw it away. I think we as a packaging professionals, I think our job is to kind of bring the utility value of packaging very high, and it starts right from the thought when the people see the ad of the product or they see the on television or newspaper. I think it has to be kind of approachable. So the packaging should be looking like, okay, this is what I want to kind of test, or this is what I want to kind of experience. And from there, the journey starts. And then people could go to shelf or different websites and start buying up. And then I think it's an experience which people would like to kind of bring to their respective homes and then start trying out different products. And I think that the packaging connection starts when they see the real ad on the shelf or in the television newspaper.
Yes, sir. In these tough situations, what could be effects or what could it affect on our jobs, and how can we overcome those effects?
Right. So I think jobs, I'm not very sure how will it affect. Certainly, there could be a challenge in terms of hiring. People may not hire immediately coming out of COVID situation, and you need to be prepared for that. I think you need to kind of start talking about things in a easy way, and you need to keep a lot of patience also. Maybe because as I mentioned, this is not easy time, and if I talk about my batch as well, not everybody was placed in the campus right away, and that was almost like 18 years back. So keep it I would say cool, calm, and I think start preparing for it from now itself. Showcase the best parts, what superpowers you have, where do you want to kind of work in the future as well, and also I think understand how things will work in the future. So that's what I think, if you are future ready, you will know how things are going to be and you will be well prepared. One big area also is I think if there are any opportunities in terms of extending your internship or training, you can look forward to that as well actually, because many times I have seen people where they do not get a kind of active employment immediately, but then they are also not ready to kind of work as an intern or as a trainee as well actually. So I would say take those projects as well. If you say 6 months or 1 year of opportunity as an intern or as a trainee as well, you should be ready for doing those kind of work as well.
Okay, sir. Ayush sir, will you continue, sir?
Yeah, so thank you, Prashant. You did it really well. Sukhdev sir, I have a few questions for you. Since you mentioned about this project management, RCA, and would you like to suggest some online courses? Because people in the industry, even the postgraduate students, they do it from KPMG, like Six Sigma certification, yellow belt, black belt. Although these are some quite high terms, but still these sort of skills are required during this COVID times. Would you like to elaborate on that part? And specifically with respect to, like you mentioned, innovations, so any comments on the TRIS technology, how people can learn them, how these students can sharpen their skills on that front?
Yes. So certainly, I think one of the things which I would request people is that, okay, don't directly jump and invest into any of the courses online. That's my at least advice to you guys, because there are courses which are expensive and which cost some money. So unless you know this is the course which you want to do, and then I think I can also tell you how to do it. And times are pretty easy nowadays. I think, and I think 20 years back, I think we didn't have to have this technology of social media or this such kind of technology. So start researching about a topic, start talking to people, start reading more about it. If you feel that's interesting for you, if you want to know more about it, if that's the area, example I can take is project management. So if you like that subject, if you want to understand more about it, I think start reading about it, start talking to people about it, and also you will realize within say 1 or 2 days that this is really interesting and this is something you want to learn. So don't do it as a subject that, okay, this is kind of, so it is, online courses are something independent of your kind of courses, right? So it's not like compulsory courses. So you kind of define your journey or your training as per your, I would say, your interest areas. So I would say that's one of the big things. And of course, in your question, Ayush, that I don't want to endorse any specific course right now, but I would definitely say people can go onto online and check for their interest areas, their passions. And if only after a couple of days or 1 week, if they feel that, okay, this is the course or this is the subject they would like to learn more, then jump into that actually.
Right, sir. Absolutely, it makes sense. We shouldn't, any student shouldn't jump on just by the buzzwords. They should do conduct their proper research. But yes, since the online portals are available to them and the access is quite good now, they should really think of doing those courses and move for it. My next question to you, sir, is now the buzzword in the industry is adjusting to the new normal. Though you have answered it in a very in a subjective manner to all the students, and also objectively we have taken it. What are your comments on that? What is the new normal? What is the corporate world expecting out of that?
Yeah, so the new normal is something where people more and more they would like to work, say, on online platforms. That's one of the big things. Maybe whenever people are meeting, catching up, I think there will be social distancing. Of course, it's in personal life as well. So that is something people would have to observe as well. Traveling could be restricted in terms of budgets. Immediately, I think people would ask, okay, there would be no investments, and other opportunities might be restricted in terms of investments. So you have to learn how to work with that. And then I think in terms of consumer behaviors, of course, I think the students also, you guys are all consumers after all. I think you can also observe small things what's happening in your life. How are you buying things? What are the products you are consuming actually? So we are already seeing that people are already buying a lot of this hygiene products, surface care products, or in terms of say sanitizers or hand wash. There is a big surge in all those kind of products. So you need to kind of also know when you are researching or when you are going out, okay, what kind of expectations people have on different industries. So it's pretty simple. Just go out, observe things, what people are buying. That's again, I think one of the big things. You go to shop. One of the things which I also start with my team, with my interns, also is that you just go out and go to shops, stop there and observe people actually. What categories are they buying? What products they are touching? What packaging do they want to really feel about? I think it will give a lot of experience to your understanding as well.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Very comprehensive. My last question to you will be, since FMCG, everyone like packaging professional wants to join FMCG, so it's like a sort of their dream job, even of mine, even it has been of yours. So since you are already inside and you are leading packaging development for Colgate Palmolive, and you have been like ex-HOD for GSK and General Mills and Unilever. So what inside sitting in the industry you see how FMCGs will respond to specific packaging placements in June and July? When are they going to come to campus, or are there is change in the hiring strategies also? And do the training and placement officers and also these placecom teams would have to do something different to get companies on campus for placements? They are 180 in number, it's a huge chunk.
Yes. So I'm not sure, very much sure that okay how companies will respond, because it will depend on their packaging requirements. So if there are vacancies to be filled in, definitely I think they have to go out and talk to people, and that's going to happen anyways. If they don't want to hire people, and if the vacancies doesn't come in, then I think there will be a challenge definitely. But I think I do not see that, because we definitely are seeing growth. And if you see the market right now also, if I take an example of say any of the industries, there are a lot of food industries, hygiene companies, personal care companies. They are growing actually. They are doing good. Of course, the rate of growth might be lower than earlier, but people are growing. And hence, I think any company which is doing well, which is growing, will require the resources which are required for their effective functioning. So in that sense, I think I don't see that okay there would be a freeze on hiring by all. Maybe certain small companies, startups, or say companies who are very difficulty they have difficulty in managing their day-to-day budgets. They will be kind of very thoughtful about new hiring. But I would say in terms of new hires from campus, people would definitely come. Do keep a watch on, say, people coming and asking for, say, interns as well, extended internship, because the internship has really not come out as well, actually, because a lot of people have not been able to contribute to the companies with their projects. So maybe people may come and ask for, say, extended internship for a couple of months. I don't know how people would be kind of reacting to that. And also, I think the second part of your question was on how the placement committees respond. I would say is that definitely you guys should reach out to different organizations within the alumni as well, to converters, and have a good discussions with them. Maybe plan some sessions as well in a structured manner, in which you can kind of have a subject for everybody's interest. So while you are interacting on different topics to the people, or to say example any industry or converters, you will definitely come to know what is the status of that industry, and whether they would like to come to the campus, or whether they would like to hire from the industry itself any experienced person. You would be able to judge from that interaction.
Nice, sir. Nice, sir. Thank you. So